When I was 9, I was obsessed with monster movies and never missed an issue of famous Monsters of Filmland. I loved to read, and I wanted to read real books about monsters, not the kiddie stuff at the library. Alas, my desire did not match my reading ability, as I found out when I bought a paperback of Bram Stoker's Dracula. I did try to read it and got as far as Lucy's encounter with the old sea captain, but I finally had to admit defeat, not picking the book up again until I was 14, when I successfully completed it. Same thing with Monsters Galore, a paperback collection of classic horror stories I picked up around the same time I bought Dracula. Again, I tried to read it, and again I had to give it up. The contents were simply beyond my reading capability. Monsters Galore was edited by Bernhardt J. Hurwood, a professional writer who lived between 1926 and 1987, and who produced a number of paperbacks on occult subjects, many of them in my collection of old weird paperbacks. Titles such as Passport to the Supernatural and Vampires, Werewolves, and Ghouls. Conducting my own research, I've come to realize that Hurwood haunted libraries for material. In fact, I've consulted many of the same books he used in compiling his compilations. Often, Hurwood would write his own version of the strange stories he found. So, what did I find in Monsters Galore? I will put the complete table of contents, courtesy of the Internet Speculative Fiction Database, in both the description and comments. But here is my quick and dirty take on the stories I remembered best. The Eyes of the Panther, written in 1891 by Ambrose Bierce. Ambrose Bierce was the most important American writer of weird fiction between Poe and Lovecraft. He was especially known for his twist endings. Alas, this story of lycanthropy is okay, but not Bierce at his best. This is B. Bierce, not A. Bierce. A. The Dreadful Visitor, from Varney the Vampyre, by Thomas Preskett Prest. Thomas Preskett Prest. Try saying that fast. Story written circa 1840s. This is the famous yarn about a young woman attacked in her bedroom by a vampire, and so frightened she is unable to scream for help. This tale may be the source of the supposedly true story, The Vampire of Crogland Grange, which I have recorded on this channel. Link in description. The Monster Maker, written in 1887 by W.C. Morrow. An evil surgeon tries to learn if a man can live without a head. Hey, why not? I made a video of this story in the form of a 1940s monogram horror movie with Bela Lugosi as the surgeon. Link in description. Count Magnus, written in 1904 by M.R. James. Count Magnus isn't a vampire, but a cruel Swedish nobleman who goes on the Black Pilgrimage and brings something back with him. Something that will suck your face off, leaving just your staring eyes. M.R. James, alas, no relation, was one of the greatest ghost story writers of all time, but I wonder if his slow pacing and Victorian references might prove a barrier to some modern readers. I made my own version of this story. Link in description. The Purple Terror, written in 1899 by Fred M. White. The only thing I really remember about this story of deadly plants is that it's one of the few stories I've read set during the Spanish-American War. Woohoo! The Werewolf, written in 1837 by Frederick Marryat. This is an excellent werewolf story set in the Harz Mountains of Germany. The story is an excerpt from a novel called The Phantom Ship, which I borrowed from the library years ago and never read. Fool! Now it's no longer available. If you've read it, tell us about it in the comments. The Vampire Cat of Nabashima by Bernhardt J. Hurwood. This is Hurwood's adaptation of a vampire story from Tales of Old Japan by Lord Redesdale. I recently uploaded a version of the story starring Luna the Cat. Link in description. The Corpse at the Inn. The Corpse at the Inn from Strange Tales from a Chinese Studio. This is the classic tale of an extremely energetic Chinese vampire who runs amok at a wayside inn. The story is the work of a Qing dynasty scholar named Pu Sung-ling and appeared in his classic collection of strange tales published in 1740. Check out my version, link in description. Now, the later sections of Monsters Galore feature a number of articles on historic serial killers, such as Peter Curtin, the Dusseldorf vampire, Elizabeth Bathory, the vampire countess who took baths in human blood, Sonny Bean, head of a family of Scottish cannibals, and Peter Stubb, a German werewolf killer who was executed by being broken on the wheel in 1589. This section also features an account of a poltergeist by the 17th century English philosopher Henry Moore, an angry ghost named Johannes. Well, I'll let you look that one up in the contents. As a kid, I found these true accounts far more terrifying than the weird fiction. Hell, I still do. Finally, I should mention that the book had pictures, illustrations, such as etchings by Goya, which Hurwood must have gathered from his source materials. One I particularly remember is a woodcut showing the brutal execution of Peter Stubb. These grim black and white illustrations certainly added to the book's somber atmosphere. Looking at Monsters Galore 60 years after publication, and that's right, 60 years, I think it was a damn good introduction to classic horror and historic true crime. Historic true crime. But if you've read it, what did you think? Would you be interested in more reviews of the old weird paperbacks in my personal library? If so, let me know in the comments below. Hey, that kind of rhymes. If this is your first visit to my channel, please consider subscribing. My name is Warren, and I write and tell original ghost stories and original horror stories featuring such cryptids as the Night Floaters, werewolves, and the Black-Eyed Children. So again, please consider subscribing. Please help me to reach my goal of 2,500 subs. Till midnight. Cheers.